Well, one of the other questions I was asked to share with this family several years ago, this church family, was what is Gehenna? Gehenna, spelled Jehenna, is one of three words translated hell in the New Testament. It is the most common one used, 12 times, and then also Hades is used 11 times. And Gehenna means the valley of Hinnom in the New Testament. It's the most common used, and it was talked about a lot by Jesus as far as comparing the condition of this place to what man has digressed to as a physical picture. It was notorious as a place where Ahaz had introduced the fire worship of the heathen god Moloch, to whom little children were burned. They actually made a brazen god that they worshiped. It had hands that came out, and in its belly was like a fireplace, and they literally heated those hands up to where they were fire hot, and then they would lay their child on there alive and burn them before their god. And that's in 2 Chronicles 28, 2-4. So you can see it was a very, that place had a bad reputation. That was a bad place. Josiah had stamped out that worship, and he ordered the valley should be forever after an accursed place. So it became the place in Jerusalem where all the refuse was cast out and destroyed. It was kind of like a public incinerator. It burned all the time. And so the fire and smoke always smoldered, and it had very thick smoke laying over it. And it also bred what they said was a loathsome kind of worm, which was very hard to kill. That's in Mark 9:44-48. That's pictured in the book of Revelation as the worm that never dies. So Gehenna, or the valley of Hinnom, is identified in people's minds with all that which is accursed and filthy, the place where useless and evil things were destroyed. And of course, religion would try to tell you that's a place called hell where people were burning forever. So Hades is the Greek word for the Hebrew word Sheol, S-H-E-O-L, which is defines as the place of unseen, the place, or literally the state of departed souls. And again, if you remember, Adam walked with God in the cool of the day, in the spirit realm. And when he had this perception of being separate from God and believed it, then he lowered himself down from the higher awareness with God to a lower awareness, which is what I call the dust realm, or living out of his five senses. And so he left that place, and that produced that same estate in everybody after him. God comes along later, and asks Adam, where are you? He knew where Adam was, but he wanted Adam to know where he was because he was no longer walking in that spiritual realm. He was walking, if you would, in a life of non-existence, not living out of the spirit. And he was a supernatural spiritual man. And one of the words for devil in the New Testament translates to be a supernatural spirit with a bad nature. And that's exactly what Adam did. He took upon himself a bad nature, and he reproduced people after that. So he really entered a place where his nature became a degenerate nature activity, which produced death in all five realms of life. So Gehenna is not found in the Old Testament. It's also not in the book of John, not in Paul's writings, Peter's writings, Jude's writings, or James, except for one place in James. It's used in chapter 3, verse 6, which talks about the tongue. So nor is it mentioned in the book of Acts. It's not mentioned in the book of Hebrews. And the New Testament records Jesus as using the term on what seemed likely only on 4 occasions, again, where he was comparing that place to the condition that man had digressed to. God, how then could such a horrible fate to which most people are destined in the religious system's teaching not being warned against it everywhere in the Bible? And it's, again, if a person will do some history, if they'll watch Luther with Josephus in it, if they'll study some of their books and see what the word Gehenna is, what hell actually translates to, they'll find out that it was a doctrine that was really a false doctrine, but it was embraced by the Protestant church after the Catholic Church translated their Bibles, and it's been taught ever since. So I just want to tell you, as I told a young man on the telephone tonight, you have nothing to fear. There's only one Spirit. There's only one power. There's only one mind. There's only one Father. And there's only one realm, and it's the realm of the heavenly. And no one has to worry about going to a place called hell that we've been taught is to be true.